Welcome to the gallery. I'm your host, Brianna Gustafson, and today I'm here with Nick Blazis, who is the Cape Cod Community Media Center's featured artist for October and November. Thanks for being here today, Nick.
How you doing? Good to see you, Brianna.
It's good to see you too. How does it feel to be the artist of the upcoming months?
Well, it's the first time I've had my art in a public venue, I'm really excited. It's being that we had class together and the connection through doing internships in the community is awesome, and really excited to get my art out there and just share how important it is to have something creative in your life and to be making things.
And you being a local artist, you're going to have an awesome reception. We booked it for October 5th, 5 to 8 p.m. It's going to be so much fun here at the Cape Cod Community Media Center conference room. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, just from Cape Cod, local kid?
Yep, absolutely. I grew up on the Cape. Both my parents were really great artists, and I had the most awesome childhood growing up sailing. My father was a sailor, raced Fagawi, and so growing up having the ocean here and everything has been awesome. I didn't come into a lot of art or music until a lot later in my life. Starting with a camera that I picked up, working at Sprint, that led into my other endeavors. But absolutely, getting into art changed my life, and I am excited to share it.
Awesome. Now you do photography, painting, woodworking. Is there anything that you don't do?
Well, it keeps me out of trouble, and it was really one thing that led to another, and starting with a camera and getting into light painting with long exposure photography, and it's addicting, and having. I couldn't live without having something to, having that creative expression. I need it in my life, and I think everybody has something that they're passionate about, and whether it's, dance or making music, but it really is good for the soul.
Yeah, I agree. And I've seen some of your long exposure photography. Can you tell me a little bit about what that is?
Sure, absolutely. So long exposure photography, or working with slow shutter speeds, is basically you take, the absolute basic concepts of a camera, which is really, like a pinhole camera, which is you have the little hole where the light comes in and how long the photograph is. So really these long exposure photographs that could show, say, painting, a line with a flashlight. It's basically, instead of the normal photograph that is, half a second or hundredth of a second, you're talking about photos that are 30 seconds long or 45 seconds long. So you have that time to either paint an image or take photographs that a normal you couldn't normally capture, like a sunset that's really, really dark. You wouldn't be able to get that snapping a picture, but a long exposure photo with a camera on a tripod allows you to take pictures of the stars and do other things that aren't possible with fast photographs.
Cool. Well, I hope you have some on display at your reception.
Absolutely.
They're so cool. Can you talk a little bit about the paintings that you brought today? I see some of them look really different from one another.
Absolutely. So really what got me into painting in the first place was I came across the graffuturist art movement, or graffuturism. And so a lot of modern contemporary art, graffiti artists have been experimenting with this sort of abstract art form, and it was really the thing that got me to pick up a paintbrush or buy my first can of spray paint. And so if you see some of the work here, you're seeing a lot of straight lines, geometric. These two differ in the way that this I'm doing with painter's tape and actually painting with a paintbrush, whereas something like this here, I'm in the workshop working with spray paint, and with none of the paintings are really planned. I start with a line, putting a piece of shaped wood down, spray painting over that, and I kind of go line front line. And same thing with I think the most important thing to keep the composition, or really the structure of it, is I start off with a basic color theme, and I pick a few paints, and I think that working with a limited palette really helps with what you end up with, because it's so easy to you add the wrong color and you have them clashing. And then the other kind of style of art that I get into is fluid acrylics. So something like this, where I'm either using an actual fluid acrylic paint. I work with a lot of golden acrylics, great brand, and I'm either using like a very watery paint or watering it down myself. And that's a really great art form that I've kind of like gotten my friends into, because it's easy in the way that it's low stress. You pick a few colors that you want to work with, and you're literally dripping onto a surface and leaning it this way, leaning it that way, and recollecting what you drip. And it's I think a lot of people don't get into painting for the reason that it can be stressful if you're not getting the image right, like trying to paint a face or hands. And that's why I think abstract art is so much fun and really accessible too.
Yeah, I agree. That looks like something I could definitely try, and it would be fun to try. Now, you were telling me earlier, this painting down here, like Crackle Paint. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can see kind of the textured surface, and I go into AC Moore, going to pick up, with a 50% off coupon to pick up paint, and I walk out, $100 later. And so going in there, they found this product, and you can see it's kind of a crackled surface. So instead of your standard gesso that you put on a canvas, it's a paste that you would put down, and when it dries, it crackles and cracks and gives that different textured surface. And I think it's just so much fun working with different mediums, whether it's the fluid acrylics or spray paint, or acrylic paint, oil paint, experimenting with all those different mediums and just getting paint on the canvas, and just creating, because nobody gets great at something without just putting in that time. And so it's been an adventure, going from one thing to the next. But absolutely, the crackle finish is a fun texture to work with.
Cool. I know when I first met you, paint was kind of just a hobby for you. Do you see this going in the direction of a career? I know you just transferred to UMass Boston. Are you going to do anything with art?
Well, as I've become more and more passionate about art, my friends and family have considered, doing something more with it. I had the most amazing experience also interning through Cape Cod Community College in human communications, one of the required classes that a lot of people consider grind. I had the opportunity to do a community service project, ended up working with the Barnstable Land Trust, which led to an internship. And so I'm really passionate about wildlife, and maybe sticking for my career-wise, working in environmentalism. But we'll see where it goes. It's so hard, in today's world to become a working artist. But you can bet, whatever job I have, at the end of the day, I'm going to be at home, painting, taking pictures, playing guitar, and I hope that that would be like a dream come true to become a working artist. Absolutely.
I feel like there's so many careers out there that you can combine being creative with your passion. So I know you've done some video work for Barnstable Land Trust, and that's kind of ties into photography and art.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, getting my camera, I bought a Nikon D5100, which is absolutely like an entry-level camera, was my first step into really making art, as part of my everyday life. And so with the Land Trust, I made my first time lapse, and so we were doing a cleanup, removing some invasive species, brush, getting rid of an old shed, and ended up making a time lapse of the day's work. And we've all seen like the National Geographic time lapses, and they're fascinating, and even our iPhone can do that now, with the time lapse mode, and it's really fun. Absolutely, hope that we can leave some links and check it out, the time lapse, and as well as stop motion animation, taking photos of something, changing it a little bit, taking another photo, and building that into an animation is similar to the time lapse work.
Cool. October 5th will be your reception. What other kinds of artwork are you going to bring?
I was very limited. I came up from Boston late last night, so I had to literally just grab what I had at home. But I'm going to be bringing a lot of more large pieces and a variation of the fluid acrylic work, so the more abstract, real flowing, almost like a satellite photo of looking down at like a storm or clouds. Then which is really like pretty drastically different than the more the straight lines and geometric work. So I think we're going to have a variety of the two. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait. It's going to be a great event. I know you're a really well-known person. You'll probably have a great turnout, and I'm really looking forward to it. So thank you again for being here today. I'm so excited we get to share this awesome first experience with you of showing off your artwork somewhere public. So it's going to be a lot of fun. You're watching The Gallery, and I'm Brianna Gustafson.
Thank you.